Let's talk Notre Dame. Let's have more takeaways from the college football playoff bracket coming up next here on Locked On Sooners.
You are Locked On Sooners, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma Sooners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, thanks for making Locked On Sooners your first listen every single day. Shout out to all the everydayers out there. Tune in and subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jay, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish got left out of the playoff in a bit of a surprise, I think. There was some buzz as the last couple of weeks matured that, hey, maybe Miami's win over them early in the season matters more than where these teams are at relative to their rankings now. And lo and behold, Miami gets put in as the number 10 seed. We'll face the Texas A&M Aggies down there in College Station. Notre Dame, you get sent back to South Bend, and they announced on Sunday that they are going to opt out of a bowl game. And that, to me, is just mind-boggling.
It really is. Me too. So in defense of Notre Dame, the committee did all this wrong. They should have had these two in the same quadrant from the beginning. But in the committee's defense, they put everybody in certain quads to make it easier to evaluate them. And Miami hadn't made it up there yet. But doing this on the last day, they should have did this like two weeks ago. When they moved Alabama up ahead of Notre Dame, that made me think, oh, yeah, they're about to find a way to push Notre Dame out of this bad boy. And sure enough, here we are. Look, if BYU had won, then they definitely would have got pushed out easier. BYU would be the team instead of Miami. And they both would have been out, and they've been upset. Hence why you see the committee decide to, instead of making Notre Dame play against someone they played against before, they made the two teams that beat them play against each other. So that's going to make it even more interesting, right? But then Notre Dame decides to opt out. I get the players are probably all frustrated that they were up there and then all of a sudden no longer in there. Totally understand. I think I can get that. Yeah, you should play in the bowl game. Should have. Go beat somebody else who will most likely be matched up better in comparison to what the schedule you played. Go out there and play against them and show us that you are a formidable opponent. When you look at their schedule next season, it doesn't really give you much to work with either. So, yeah, I think they missed the opportunity to make a statement by not playing. They should have played in. They should be playing in a bowl game if they really want to teach anybody a lesson. But it shows you that their brand is just not that strong anymore. No one cares about that. And it's really about the results on the field. And unfortunately, the results did not lean their direction.
What's interesting about this, Jay, is you see this happening with other programs as well. Iowa State, Kansas State. I'm sure there's others that are out there that are opting out. But with Iowa State and Kansas State, you kind of understand it. They have head coaching turnover. And so maybe there's going to be some opt-outs and they may not have enough players, or maybe they're going to be big coaching changes and they won't have a staff big enough to run the thing, run practices and all that leading up to it. Still, there's a lot of valuable practice time that you get when you're playing and preparing for a bowl game that, listen, these are reps that you can give to some of your younger guys that you're trying to develop and get ready for that next season.
Yep.
You don't get to simulate that in the spring. I know the bowls don't mean what they used to on a national scale, but those practice reps, they still mean a lot to those guys that are trying to earn opportunities. And yeah, one season to the next, there's not always carryover, but listen, if you can go and you can have 15 good days of practice and then you could earn some snaps in a bowl game, that's huge for your confidence going into the next season. And listen, I think that is an area that these coaches are missing, and it's a little bit short-sighted. And then also putting it to the players, giving them a vote in it, that's bad leadership in my opinion. Either you want to be player-led and you want to be player-driven, but at the same time, the players don't always know what's best for them.
Yeah.
And in this circumstance, what's better for them is to begin preparing for next year by getting a lot of these practice reps in now. The coaches can use them to evaluate some of the younger guys on the roster. If you've got a running back beyond Jeremiah Love that you want to see get a significant workload to see, hey, is he going to be our guy for next year, or do we need to go into the portal and look for somebody? This is huge, man. And so I think the coaches are missing out on something, right, by not playing these games.
That's the big thing for me when it comes to bowl games. I look at bowl games as an opportunity to see what the younger players are going to be, and if there's certain players we need to keep our eyes on for next season. Like winning or them, I would love to win them. Cool story. But winning or losing them to me didn't matter as much in the bowl capacity. It was really about the reps and game there, because they're live game reps on a neutral site where you don't have the advantage of your crowd. And your job is to go out there and try to execute and see how well you can execute. That tells me how prepared we can be for next season, all of that jazz. So, yeah, I'm in agreement with you on that. And it sucks that Notre Dame just completely, they're out on it. It's like, what are we doing here, guys? We it would be best. I don't know. I understand the player vote, I guess. Let me pull that back. I understand doing the player vote because, let the players decide they really want to play in. And if they're that heartbroken, their feelings are that hurt, sure. They probably weren't going to put up much of a fight anyway. Or they knew they would get their butt kicked in a bowl game anyway. So it's one or the other. But, yeah, I still think it's a Bush League move as well. They should have been playing in this game.
Well, here's another kind of more local example. So Northeastern State here in Tahlequah, they are an independent in Division II, and they were left out of the Division II playoff, even though they went 8-3 and had a great year. So a bowl game was kind of created on the spot called the First Americans Bowl here in Tahlequah, almost created by like the Cherokee Nation, and NSU played in it and brought in another team, and they got to play a bowl game. Well, and they won the game. And listen, whether they won or lost or not, it's a good opportunity to go win a game. They could have been like, hey, we didn't make the playoffs, so we're just kind of done for the year, whatever. No, they found a way to go play another game. And like you look at Vanderbilt, Clark Lee was Vanderbilt was reportedly trying to find another game last Saturday during conference championship weekend to go and prove their value to the playoff committee. So to me, it's like, either you want to compete or you don't. And if you don't want to compete, to me, it says a little bit more about you as a program than I thought you were. Like, I thought Notre Dame was built more like a Big Ten SEC program. To me, this looks more not like that, like ACC Big 12, where football's not that serious, actually.
Yeah, it kind of felt like that too. I thought that we would get them to be fighters like we're seeing with Vanderbilt. Like you said, Vandy wanted to play another game. They're like, hey, well, if the committee needs more, we want to play football. And so, Clark Lee even said that they're going to play in this bowl game. Not skipping on that. We like playing football.
Right.
Love it. Because the other thing you add to that is these new signees, they get to practice. So now you get these young players getting to practice and get an understanding of the collegiate stuff and what it's like to be in a college program. And you get to see little glimpses of them going through the practice. They can't play, but they can go through the practices, which that's a plus. You love to see that and see what they're made of in preparation for spring ball and going forward. So I don't know. Besides that, Brent Venables did talk a little bit about some of the injury stuff. I guess we probably should talk about that stuff too, right? It does appear that Gentry Williams had shoulder surgery. Yeah. So he's done for the year again, unfortunately. I hate it for him. Bad luck there. No updates on Jake Michla or our Mason Thomas, but wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I have a feeling they should be ready to play in 2 weeks. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, if you can get both of those guys back for Alabama, I think that's huge. Thankfully, we saw a game out of Fabechi Wiwu against a really good LSU defense, and he played well. So listen, if you have to go into that game with Fabechi at center and Ryan Foje at right guard, it's not terrible.
It's not.
You could have far worse combinations along your offensive line than that. So it's encouraging, man. And you got a really good offense, or at least a good offensive line that's getting better all the time, at least especially in pass protection. And what's best about all this is that the running game is going to get healthier. Your running backs, Torrey Blaylock, Xavier Robinson, are going to be healthy and ready to roll whenever the Crimson Tide run into town. Listen, last time Alabama came to Norman, Xavier Robinson ran for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns against them.
Yep.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying. So, but most importantly, if we can get our Mason Thomas back, that just takes the defense to another level, even though they've been playing great ball over the last month of the season. All right, coming up next, speaking of a defensive player that plays great ball. We got to talk Elijah Harmon because that dude can straight up ball.
Beast.